Looks like we're live, Randy.
Let's go.
Let's do this, man. I'm just going to double check we're coming through. Everybody can hear us. Looks like we're popping out on socials. Cool beans. Welcome, everybody, to another Discover Your Community experience. This is going to be a little bit of an interesting evolution that we go on together. I'm going to delete this comment of a video tour that's unrelated because, well, I'm really excited to be here with you, Randy. This moment represents a culmination of effort for both of us on a couple different fronts. So for those that don't know, my guest slash co-host in training here, Randy, you may have seen him on his own podcast that he's been working hard on for the last 2 years, would you say?
No, it's actually just this year. Started recording episodes in February, and then we started releasing episodes in April.
But your video work that you've been doing, kind of building up to that podcast, have been over the last couple of years.
Correct.
Yeah. And so, you know, it's always been my heart and the mission for Discover Real Estate, whether it be Discover Oregon Real Estate, Discover Washington Real Estate, and some of the other, you know, brands and ambitions that we have beyond, with our mission, and we just got to have a team meeting talking about this, to facilitate the discovery of community, legacy, and adventure through real estate everywhere. For that mission to actually be acted out and lived out and accomplished, what that would look like is that we do a phenomenal 5-star job of helping you guys find your place and find your people. So place being the core of our business, brokering real estate, but people being the ancillary connections that make up community. Really what we do is we broker communities, right? So wanted to bring Randy on, want to introduce all of you to him. If you haven't seen the episode we did where we talked a little bit about his story, you can get some background. But we've had Randy here at the office all day interviewing agents here at Door at their Corvallis headquarters. And pretty soon we're going to start dropping some of these videos to be featured on our app. And so this is our moment to just talk a little bit about the vision of what you may have seen as an invite to the Discover Your Community app. How does this fit into, you know, the Discover Oregon podcast that we've been working on, which is now being expanded to Discover Your Community, the channel, the show, and the podcast, where we highlight local businesses like yours and provide a little bit more of an intimate introduction to the places and people that we share our space with and the amazing local businesses and service providers. So thank you for those that are tuning in today. And I just wanted to provide a little bit more introduction to you, Mr. Troyer, and hear from you. What brought you into the Door headquarters today in Corvallis?
Well, we've been in talks for a little bit here about your vision for the app and for the future. And actually hearing about that, I was very, very excited for that because I've been working very, very hard, on my own business, on my own personal life, which, actually has a lot to do with me trying to do business. That is just like becoming a better human being in general. And I just feel that this opportunity right here came at just the right time. And I'm just very excited to be a part of something this big, and just the impact that it's going to have on all of the communities that it's going to be a part of is just very exciting for me. And I enjoyed our time very much when we did the podcast together. And so an opportunity to work with you is also a great honor for me.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. It goes both ways, for sure. Like attracts like. That's definitely one of the principles I live by. So tell me, let's talk about what business owners can expect. They want to get featured on the app. We have an opportunity for businesses to bring their proprietary offerings to all of our clients and all of our users. And then within that, to get a complimentary video interview in either this format, whether you want to come to the headquarters and film it here in our studio here in Corvallis, or if you want to just tune in for a recorded Google Meet or Zoom where we can record that way. What can folks expect and how we showcase them on video?
Well, I think what I like to do is I not only want to know what you do and how you do it, but I want to know why you do it. I think a lot of people, I mean, we've been kind of in this craze of like fast paced, short content where there's so many graphics and lights and sounds going off at the same time. And I had this conversation with somebody that was younger than me, actually, and he just said, it's just it's all just too much.
Hmm.
He's like, I think we've reached the peak of like how many cuts and how many sound effects you can stick within a 5-second video, right?
Mhm.
And he's like, I think people are going to want to experience something more. And that's why I'm excited about like the podcast format, the show format, the community aspect of it is I really want to connect the community and I want to know your backstory and why it is that you're passionate about what you do.
Well, I love the heart. Starting with Why, Simon Sinek's one of our favorite books to study as a group is his book Start with Why. As a precursor to the Infinite Game, highly recommend both of those books, by the way, by Simon Sinek. But part of the interview process, which we threw Randy off today, was like, well, we don't want to just interview someone to be a podcast. So it's kind of a vulnerable role. And we're building a collaborative model so that we have multiple people in our organization that can provide insightful interviews to all of you guys and consistency in bringing you content every week. Because frankly, I'm busy selling real estate. When I'm doing my job, I got to work for my clients. Only got so much time to sit down and organize these interviews. So part of the interview process was the agents got to be guinea pigs and Randy got to be a guinea pig. And now I guess I'm the guinea pig.
Yeah.
For how we want to highlight businesses. So what do you think people should know about Door and how it got started?
What do I think they should know about Door? Well, I'm not quite sure. Maybe you should be answering that question. You're the owner of it.
Fair
You're
enough.
the founder.
Yeah, true. So, well, I guess I'll let you take control then. So man, such a journey to get to here.
Yeah.
I think it's could be hard to put into words all of the connections, people, coaches, mentors, friends that have sowed sweat equity into me as a human. I think you brought it up well, and who have made me the kind of leader that would even have the courage to reapproach the real estate industry. Because quite frankly, Door almost never happened.
Why was that?
Well, after 7 years selling real estate, I think I'd closed over 500 deals, while working at a bigger box brokerage, and had kind of built several iterations of team models in real estate. And all of that in my 20s. Some people who have heard my personal story know that I made the impossible decision to, file for a divorce and to really restart my life in a lot of ways. And in one of the collaterals from that is I was just so burnt out, so tired from the industry, so disillusioned by, frankly, all of the dysfunction and the divorce and alcoholism and addiction that I saw from that people in the industry were and continue to suffer from, that I questioned whether I could really sustain a career in real estate. And the result was I took a sabbatical and I wasn't sure that I was going to come back from it. So I don't know if it's what people should know about Door, right? From a marketing standpoint, maybe it's not what they should know about Door, but if they want to know the real story of Door, the real story of Door is that it was very close to not happening at all. And it really was, I think what people should know is why it started. And how it started was I walked away from real estate. I basically gave my business away and I turned myself into a referral agent, really for probably almost a full 6-month period. I don't think I brokered a single deal. And it was at the height of the market while everything was going crazy. I really did miss an opportunity in that. But I mean, I went through my own version of a probably what someone would call it a midlife crisis, just at a quarter life age, hopefully. And I rented a motorcycle and drove across the country, and I visited a bunch of national parks, took a lot of time alone, made a stab at helping my cousin restore a sailboat, a 50-foot, 30-ton vessel that we took up from Gold Beach to Toledo. I know for a fact there were people watching that were just like wondering, what on earth is Tim doing with his life? And I don't think I could have given him a clear answer on that. But, I went through this journey of kind of deconstruction, which was the deconstruction of a relationship and a marriage of myself, spiritual deconstruction, reconstruction of my faith. And in all of that, I had this moment of clarity when it came time in the dissolution of my marriage to start needing to put some stuff up for sale.
Mm.
To make that separation happen, it was going to require selling the home that was the only home that my daughter had known. And I think some people know the story from there, as they saw this garish music video get posted with this new Discover Oregon real estate company. I don't think anyone knew at that time that I had national ambitions, global ambitions, interstellar ambitions for the company. But I knew what was so clear is when it came to sell my house, I just could not bear to just copy and paste the same service standard that I had kind of been taught and inherited from the industry of, here's how to sell a house. You put it on the MLS, you take cool photos of it, you put us on the yard. Sure, fancy folks are doing video. And I just felt like it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. It wasn't going to be enough to really show people the house that I had come to know and love, that my daughter had come to know and love. And it wasn't going to be enough to pass the baton on and then just say bye-bye to this house I had so many memories in, and not feel like I had something more special to go back on. So my version of trying to tell that story was I wrote a song that and created a narrative that told a story that I felt like honored the space and gave me something fun to look back on with my daughter. To this day, we still go back and watch the Green Acres video. That's how Door started, but why it started was I wanted to make a difference in the industry, and albeit I've continued to fail forward at that intent. I was previously motivated by just selling. I want to sell as many properties as possible and help as many people as possible, and sure, that'll make a difference for those people. But I think now my mindset has shifted that I would really like to make a difference in this industry. Do real estate in a manner that feels sustainable, that I could actually build a family that survives the test of time despite the challenging hours. To coach agents to love their life while they do this and not be living an escape of their lives. Why Door started with just creating a space to change lives for our agents and provide people some semblance of the opportunity that I've been provided by great coaches, but in a manner that created a path for them to actually scale and build their own companies that maybe they could own one day, or at least their own brand, their own individual brand story that they could be proud of. To champion video, to telling great stories, and to do all of that in a manner that builds an economic engine for what we're going to be releasing in 2025, called our give share model, right? Where we are able to take a percent of our revenue top line number and invest that back into the community, regardless of profitability, knowing that people can trust that we're giving from the top line to invest back into the places that they live and the causes that matter to them. So making a tangible difference. Every transaction we close, we plant a tree now.
Oh.
So clean air, practical. For all of the transactions we close from 2024, we're setting aside a portion of our income to invest into drilling a well in Uganda that will provide clean water for potentially a whole village or a whole school. And, our commitment to continue to support ending homelessness through supporting organizations like Jackson Street Youth Services, or even homelessness for animals, like in supporting Safe Haven, or homelessness within someone's self, right? Someone can live in their body and have a house, but still not have a home. Mm-hmm. So for us, being a part of helping fund solutions to life controlling addictions, like what Adult and Teen Challenge does for folks. Those are important organizations that we hope our company champions. This is a long-winded answer of what should people know about Door, but I guess I pay Randy and he teased me up so I can talk. So thank you for that. I think what people need to know about Door is we want to make a difference, and we really appreciate your business because you guys help us do that.
Yeah. You were talking about like addiction, alcoholism, like within the real estate industry. Were you talking about in the industry or just for yourself?
I think both. I think within the industry, there's no secret that it is just very normalized, right? It revolves around socialism and social events that typically revolve around alcohol. And I come from the past of having really a front row seat to addiction within my own family, and seeing heroes of mine that have beat that. And I think that like my own journey with addiction primarily has been the addiction to more, right? To the undisciplined pursuit of more. And I think that can show up as, I've gone through seasons of life where I haven't drank any alcohol at all, but the addiction will still show up in workaholism, right? That kind of that mindset of just the undisciplined pursuit of more is really how Jim Collins says many of the mighty fall. And so, I think it can show up in many different ways. It's a beautiful thing to have a job that has no ceiling until it controls you.
Yeah.
Until you're no longer in control of it. And I can think of certainly moments in my career where I've failed miserably at being blindly unaware of how addicted to the work I was, addicted to the growth, and escaping from the pain that comes with it. So I think I'm still in progress there, as like all people. I think I'm on a journey, but it starts with just having an open, transparent conversation. And I think that's one of the hopes that I get from change in this industry, is to be able to create space for entrepreneurs to have these kind of conversations while they're talking about their business. Hopefully I can model out today, like, yeah, we've got a cool brand. I'm proud of it. I think what we've got is really cool. And you know what? It's made up of imperfect people like me that are failing forward.
Yeah. What would you say, or what would you consider the greatest accomplishment within like the Door business? What would you say that is for you?
The people that we've been able to attract and retain and support. I think about Cielo, and I think about how when he started with us, he had not closed a single real estate transaction. And I think about how last year, how much he invested himself into learning, and it makes me emotional to think that he's already doubled his business this year over last year in the value that he's provided, and it's not even the end of the year. I think about Jacob. We just had a meeting today, and he's on track to 10x his business in a single calendar year. And I think that, I've never done that. And I don't know a lot of agents that have. He would have been justified in being one of the many numbers that didn't make the cut and exited the business, and said, he's got a real high standard for wanting to provide service and no BS, and wants to cut through the fluff and make sure that clients are getting what they pay for. And he's got a background in corporate America, working for Xerox, and so for him to have the courage to keep showing up and facing the industry in all of its inconsistency. I mean, I'm inspired by the people that I lead. That's the reality. I'm inspired. And I mean, as far as talent acquisition goes, like having someone like Hillary Saunders hang her license here, who's literally one of the most humble but incredible leaders that I know. She's the principal broker serving here in Oregon, licensed in a gazillion other states. She's the chief broker officer of Side Inc., which is the company that powers us. And so she's literally helping run and founded one of the top 10 real estate brokerages in the US. And she's also a real estate agent in Sisters who hangs her license at Door. That is a really humbling accomplishment, I think, for us. And the fact that we're just getting started. I think that's what excites me and makes me most proud about Door is that what we haven't even done yet, but what we're going to do.
Yeah. And maybe talk about that a little bit. Like what do you see in the next, year, next 2 to 3 years? What is next for Door? What is next for Tim? Maybe those are two separate things, but maybe they run parallel. Maybe you can just dive into that a little bit.
What's next for Door is a continued commitment to evolve the service and real estate experience. We want to not just do things differently, but we want to do them consistently and can do them greatly. And I know for a fact that some of what we're going to be releasing, even in our 2025 service standard, we have our vision retreat coming up in the way that we're able to leverage AI to support our client experiences, support our marketing experiences, to source off-market deals for our buyers and investors, to actively prospect for buyers for our sellers, will be truly unique and first of its kind in our industry. So I'm excited about that. We are AI enthusiasts simply because we know that that is where the best companies are going to be. The best companies are going to be leveraging AI over the next 10 years and beyond. And artificial intelligence is kind of like the internet of the 90s, right? So I see more and more integrations and clarity on how that's going to be involved in our service experience. And specifically in the realm of conversational AI and prospecting. And then, I think for our company, there's Discover Real Estate, which is the global brand. And then there's Door here in Oregon, Discover Oregon Real Estate, and there's Door in Washington. So I think just focusing in on our local growth in tandem with our national ambition is going to be important. We really want to nail it locally first. And so that looks like just continually adding on vendors every single week. We're giving you guys shout outs through our app. I hope our users will subscribe to the push notifications because each vendor is going to get one push notification annually that they get to share their promotion for the year, right? What do they want all the consumers and users of the app to know about that vendor for that year? So my hope with Door is that you'll see a lot more of these kinds of conversations, not just happening between you and I, but between you and I and other business owners. I think that you're going to see, a lot of market change. I think you're going to see pent up demand, and we'll capitalize on a large portion of market share, increasingly large portion of market share as the rates come down and more real estate continues to move. And I think for your second question, like what's next for me? My daughter's in first grade, so
wow,
we're packing lunches and we're doing the school plays and we're doing the thing. We're doing the conveyor belt of education, and who knows? Maybe I'll be on a few education boards and just trying to integrate my volunteerism in a manner that will overlap as much as possible with her world. I think 2025 will bring more opportunity with our government contracts. In fact, I just reviewed a contract to start working with the City of Corvallis, not just in the brokering of their real estate, but also in the management of it. And so you'll see hopefully more local impact, not just from Door, but from me investing as the agent for our town here in Corvallis, and hopefully some cool adventures. I think we've got some, it'd be great to climb a mountain at least once next year live. That'd be a goal.
You seem to have like lots of plans and like you're very, very optimistic about the future.
Absolutely.
That isn't necessarily a trait that I see in lots and lots of people. How do you keep that perspective?
That's a great question. How do I?
Or maybe you're not that excited. Maybe you're just faking it.
Yeah, I think the first question that comes like, well, my optimism for the future is something I fight for every day. Like, how do I keep it? Is like I fight for it. It's not. It doesn't happen by default. It's not. I don't think it's an internal quality that I was born with. I think there were times where I was extremely pessimistic about the future. I think I have journeyed through the deepest depression that I think can't exist with someone still being here.
Wow.
And have been acquainted with sadness that and hopelessness that was crippling in nature enough to know that that's just not where I want to spend my life. And so I exercise gratitude as much as I can, because truly I think life's a gift. That's my core belief. I believe God is good, and I believe that God is love, and I think that life is a gift, and I think it's a gift to be a part of it, and I hope to be a meaningful contribution to other people's lives. I don't want to just be a net zero or net negative. So I know optimism powers me, and I know that it's actually, we talk about charisma as one of our core values at Door. Charisma being cultivated enthusiasm. So for me, it's like my optimism for the future is like the thing that I work to cultivate every day, like a farmer would grow grass. Like I plant and plow and replant and replow and water and fertilize so that is the crop that's in my field. And honestly, it's like plagues and pestilence are always there, right? Like there's always the crows trying to eat my crop of optimism. And so hopefully, I'm glad that that's what came through today. I guess that maybe Tuesday, tune in on Tuesday or Wednesday, or Tuesday or Thursday, and maybe you might get a different vibe. But hopefully, more often than not, I maintain optimism for the future, because I think that the future is bright. I believe that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I had a question. I forget what it was now. But
well, that's good. That's a good moment for me to segue out of the hot seat, because I'm getting sweaty. What about you, Randy? What's next for you? How do you maintain optimism for the future? You seem to always have a smile on your face.
That is a good question. Something that one of my life coaches told me is that one of the core needs of a human is to grow. And that is one thing that I focus on a lot of times. I mean, I am a man of faith, and so a lot of my morning prayers consist of, God, teach me something today. And, you can say that and then go on through your day and have a crappy day. But the only reason you had a bad day was because your mind wasn't open to what I believe God was trying to teach you. Because all these bad things, all the bad things that happened to you, obviously they shaped you. They made you who you are now. The bad things that happened to me made me who I am. And if I can just look at those things that I consider bad things in my life as an opportunity to grow and to be a better person, and then from that standpoint, reach back to the people that are going through those bad situations that I went through and pull them out of that, teach them, coach them out of that. That's one of the core missions of my life is to give people a hand up. And so I guess the way that I stay optimistic is really, really focusing on the future, focusing on who I want to be, and then trying to make decisions from that standpoint instead of my current situation. Because if we tap into the sensory world and what we're feeling and what we're going through now, a lot of times making decisions out of that place is not healthy, because if we get caught up in the current circumstances, it is very overwhelming. I have a lot of empathy for people that get bogged down, get depressed. And so, yeah, I guess just the way that I would say to stay positive is reflection, a lot of reflection, and just thinking through your problems, the hard things in your life, meditating, praying, journaling. Those are things that I try to do every single day of my life. And that may or may not happen every day, but I try. And I think that is some of the things that really help me to keep my eyes on the goal and to be positive.
Love it, man. Well, I love your heart of compassion. That's why we brought you on. And I'm excited for other people to be able to get to experience that. Right. So thanks for doing the two-way interview today and sharing some of your heart and bringing you some of your great questions to the table. And for anyone viewing in that would love to sit in the hot seat with us, we'd love to put this out to you. Our goal is to give people a more vulnerable introduction to the leaders and business owners and service providers in our community. kind of like what we're doing today. So if you're intrigued to share some of your story, you can go deeper than us or not as deep. I mean, we'll kind of try to match you or just go slightly deeper. Right on the edge of your comfort zone is where we'd love to explore with you of what you'll be willing to share with your community around why you do what you do, and what makes you special, what makes you different, where you're headed to next, and maybe some of the adversity that you've had to work through along the way, and what's helped you in that. Obviously, Randy is a big growth guy just like me, and we learn selfishly. We get to learn from business owners when they come and sit down with us. So we'd love to learn from all of you, and thank you for those that tuned in for today. And until next time, I'm your host, Tim Rist.
I'm the co-host, Randy Troyer.
We're here to help you find your people and find your place. Peace out, everybody.